And joining us now on the Fort Report from Fort Hays softball team are Katie Adler, senior infielder from Riverton, Utah, and Megan Jamison, junior pitcher from Fort Collins, Colorado. Now, first off, ladies, a question for both of you. Take us through your typical daily routine now that the season has been canceled and classes are all online.
Most of my classes were already online, so I got really lucky with my transition being pretty easy to the rest of my courses being online. But normally I wake up and I like to take my dog for a walk. I have a 1-year-old Labradoodle puppy, so she's got a lot of energy. And then I usually eat breakfast and then do some homework, try to fit in a workout. But yeah, just watch some Netflix, Hulu, Disney, kind of whatever I can. Keep myself busy. Oh, and I like to paint. That tends to be something I do. So.
Nice. Go ahead, Katie.
For me, I was in a leadership class, and we had a community-based project going on with Breathe Coffee House. And so that's kind of shifted a lot, and it's been difficult to transition for that to be online. But other than that, it's pretty easy. And then I'll just wake up. Like, I have class at 9, so and then I do that, and then I do my homework, and then watch some Netflix, just chill. And then I usually work out at nighttime, and that's basically it. Play catch. Nothing too big.
Cool.
Take us back to that last day of the regular season, back on March 12th, kind of the day that everything came to a screeching halt. You guys, softball team, were down in the middle of a doubleheader against Rogers State down in Oklahoma. When the news kind of came out. What do you remember most about that day? How did that all kind of transpire? I was kind of take turns, I guess, question for both of you.
Okay, I'll go. The most thing I remember is Coach pulling us to the outfield. We were in the middle of our 2 games, and I kind of peeked at my phone and I saw the email from Fort Hays saying the header was COVID-19. And so we were all talking in the dugout, kind of freaking out and not thinking that would ever happen. And then Coach is like, hey, guys, we're going to be in the outfield. And in my head, I was just like, don't say it, don't say it. And she was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but this could be your last game. And I'll never forget that feeling. It was just like everyone's hearts just got ripped out.
Honestly, for me, I thought originally when she pulled us into the outfield that we were in trouble because with their phones, but
That natural reaction. I mean, Adrian's a little intense sometimes. That's okay.
yeah, they talked to us about looking at our phones like right before the first game, and so I was like, oh my god, like we're gonna get in trouble in the middle of the game. But then she kind of opened with, I don't know how to tell you guys this, and then my heart just kind of dropped because my friend had talked to me about it earlier that day, how Penn had gone and canceled their season, and I was like, oh, that's never going to happen to us. Like, we're a small D2 in Kansas. Like, why would they bother? And then it just kind of happened, and I had no reaction. It was really intense and really hard.
Yep, no, it's tough to deal with. There's no way to prepare for a situation like that. I was out at the baseball field and up in the press box, and we were trying to keep up with the game and announce it and keep the statistics and everything, but we're just constantly refreshing our phones, and every 10 minutes seemed like something else was canceled, and then it all came kind of to a screeching halt. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, like I said on an interview the other day with Garrett Stevens, I was driving back and forth across Kansas all day basically, and I was headed over to Warrensburg for the women's basketball regional, and I got the news on my phone just there before I got to Kansas City. I was also trying to pay attention to you ladies softball games down at Rogers State and see the live stats updating. And so, all that different communication that was going on that day was kind of an overload, but I was stuck in a car all day going to and from. So it was just a weird day overall. So.
Katie, luckily, that's probably not going to end up being your last game, unbeknownst to not knowing that I was going to be playing your last game, with NCAA granting an extra season of eligibility. It's our understanding you're kind of planning on pursuing a second senior season. What was the feeling like going from wondering if your college career was over to knowing you have this opportunity to possibly play again to making that decision?
I think This was my senior year, obviously, and you kind of know when your season's going to end. And then with this whole thing going on, it just got ripped from everyone. And so it's like, but luckily I was going to be a fifth year for school. So I wanted to like be a GA. I want to be involved with the team next year. And so getting this fifth year, I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity.
So you're already kind of planning on coming back anyway
Yeah.
for school, so it just worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, Katie, I've been able to watch you play for a couple of years now, and you kind of, I feel like you played more of an aggressive style of softball. You're one of the bolder base runners on the team, at, making some things happen out there on the field. Have you always had that aggressive mentality, maybe in taking the extra base, or even your whole approach to the game of softball?
Yeah, growing up on all my summer ball teams from since I was 10, I was on teams where the girls weren't huge. We were all small, and so we bunted and we stole and we ran teams. So we put pressure on the defense, and I think that's just stuck with me. And if I can make something happen on the base path, I want to. And sometimes it gets me in trouble with coach, but it works out. And
hey, it works sometimes too. So
yeah, it's just my style of gameplay.
Yeah, that's cool. And you had a strong season going offensively. Was there any kind of adjustments you had made this season to, I guess, maybe elevate that batting average where it was, or anything you worked on specifically just throughout your entire game this year?
Yeah, I worked with the coaches more on my mental side, because when I'm down, I'm not being aggressive, and so my junior year wasn't the year I really wanted. It wasn't that great, and so going to my senior year, I wanted to have the best season hitting. And so I just worked really hard on the mental game and my approach, and it was working.
Good. I think it definitely was. So you definitely had one of the better offensive seasons on the team. So it was nice to see what you had going. Just unfortunate that everything stopped the way it did. So.
Yeah.
Megan, how about you? You play a big role in the team in several different ways. Haley Chapman and Mikey Nelson, they're kind of the frontline starters, getting the majority of the starts in the circle. But you had a strong season going as well. Had a 2.02 ERA when the season came to a close, even through a complete game shutout against Lincoln here at home late in what ended up being late in the season. How do you stay ready for the coach when she calls upon you to give a little bit different look from Haley and Mikey?
Well, for me, it's all about watching the game and kind of I'm very much a in my head kind of person. So watching the game, watching the batters, we talk a lot in the dugout, the pitchers do, about what we're throwing, what the umpire zone kind of looks like, different things that they may have gotten some of the different hitters out on, whether it's a screwball or a curveball or throwing drops outside, whether they're reading a ball high in the zone or if they're really focusing on that low pitch. And then just staying ready, going out into the bullpen, throwing. And I usually have my catchers run me through a couple batters if I feel like I'm possibly going in or not. And just kind of being always there. I always tell coach that I'm ready, and I verbalize it so that way she knows that I'm ready to go and really in the game and in tune with the game. So.
Very
That's
cool.
impressive.
So yeah,
always staying attentive to what's going on.
Yeah, and just on that point, kind of going inside the game here a little bit and beyond what's going out on the field, Megan, you were critical to a win earlier this year against CSU Pueblo at a neutral site in Texas. You were taking care of the scorebook in that game, and from what I understand, knowing the rules of the game kind of brought a big mistake to the attention of Coach Pilkington, which she then relayed to the umpire. Can you kind of take us back through what all happened during that game?
So my dad was always a coach, and there were a couple seasons where I didn't really play a ton in comp ball, so my coaches had me take the book because as a pitcher, there's always 3 or 4 on a team, and you kind of have to find your different roles in the team. And so I've been taking book for a really long time, and the rule that occurred during that game was that they illegally substituted somebody back in. So they didn't report it to the umpire, and the umpire didn't report it to me, who, since I was keeping book, I'm keeping track of who's going in and out. Mm-hmm. That girl ended up going up to bat, and then once she hits the ball or puts the ball in play, she's automatically out. So that was kind of just the snag that I caught. And then I went up to Jason and I asked Jason, I said, did they report this to you and did I miss it? And he said, no, they didn't report it to us either. And so then coach brought it to the attention of the umpires. And once they talked to the coach, she was like, I did enter it, but the umpire had no recollection of it and had no like written proof or evidence. And neither did the scorekeepers that were behind the plate as well, that were keeping track of the actual scoreboard. So that sufficiently ended the game because it was the last out of the 7th inning. So
yeah, and so you staying locked in the whole time. I mean, that's huge right there. And considering the situation too, because I actually happened to be watching the little camera stream of what was going on at that given time, and I'm just like, well, something technical must have just happened, because I'm like, why the game just stopped? And it was in a critical moment too. And so but I mean, you might not know it, but you doing scorebook for me, trying to follow along and give people updates on Twitter, and obviously I'm building an electronic file of the game too, so I've got like my electronic scorebook in front of me. So you doing that is actually helping us do our job, and that's huge to our operation too. So I mean, I've never got to thank you directly for that, but I guess here you go. So so thanks for staying on top of all that stuff too. And the trainers your trainer was relaying pictures to me through text. So maybe Tiger Athletic fans might not understand that interchange of how's those sports info guys even know what's going on in Texas right now. There's no live stream of the game. There's no live stats. And sometimes we have to have the people doing the books there be our eyes and relay that to us. So that was huge. So and then also I understand you were doing book on Mikey Nelson's 8-inning no-hitter earlier this year. Is it true that you and the coaches were the only ones that knew what was going on? And maybe you said something after the game finally, and everybody's like, "What?" Like,
the coaches and I only knew what was going on because the coaches also each have a book. Coach Pilkington has a pitching book, and then Jason has a book as well. And then I just have the actual scorebook. So I was looking at the scorebook, and I was thinking, nobody's gotten a hit. She's throwing one. Yeah. But in baseball and softball, of course, you keep those things hush-hush. You never say anything until the game's officially done.
Yeah.
So for me to get to tell her that, like, she threw a no-hitter, she didn't really realize it. She was more just trying to get out of the game and get up in. So it was a lot of fun to get to break that news to her. And Coach kind of said it too, but really once the game was over, I was like, you just threw a no-hitter. Like, that's huge.
Yeah. So especially 8 innings too. It's hard to even go that one X because you got the international tiebreaker that came into effect, and to keep that run off the board and even allowing a hit there too, that was huge as well. So I tried to play my part too. I didn't say anything on social media either. So I figured if I said something too, it'd probably go poof. So, but Katie, I mean, what was going through your mind during that game? Were you did you even know what was going on?
No, I had no idea.
I think you actually scored the winning run in that game. Is that right? I think
I was on second and Taryn scored me.
Yeah, that's right. So I was thinking so. So I was going back and looking at the stats. I thought that was right. So a couple of fun facts for our fans that might be watching this. Katie Adler, you're the only current FHSU athlete from Utah. So give us a little geography lesson on where Riverton's at.
Okay, well, some people don't even know where Utah is. So it is next to Colorado.
Fair enough.
Then Salt Lake is, if you know where Salt Lake is, I hope you do.
Yeah.
Riverton's like 20 minutes south of Salt Lake.
Okay, so it's kind of like a little bit of a suburb or something like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Is it like close to the Great Salt Lake, or because I know that's not too far outside of town? Yeah. The
Great Salt Lake's in Salt Lake, obviously. So it's like,
I
don't know. I've never been there.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That close, but never went. Okay.
No.
You're the only 4 days athlete from Utah. Megan, you're one of 4 players on the team from the same town, Fort Collins, Colorado. 3 of you guys went to the same high school. Did you know any of them in high school? Did you play together at all?
So fun fact, Grace Phillip actually signed to Fort Hays before I did. And that's how I found out, because Grace and I have been best friends since we were 10. So once she signed, I kind of took a look at it because I still wasn't committed. And I kind of reached out, and then Coach E, who was an assistant coach here a couple years ago, saw me at a showcase and actually brought Coach Pilkington to my attention. And the rest is history for that one. Kristen was actually a couple years younger, and we all played together in high school. So we had 2 seasons together in high school where she played on varsity as a freshman, and Grace and I were the 2 juniors on the team. And then Hannah Gates, it actually went to an opposing high school, so we all played against her, but Grace, me, and Hannah all played competitive ball together. And Kristen played in the same organization, just the year below us. So me, Hannah, and Grace have all been friends for a really long time. And me and Grace being here was part of why Hannah came here from Otero, because I was like, you should just come to Hays. She didn't know where she wanted to go and said Hays is a great place to be. And so she came. And then Kristen was really excited about a lot of the opportunities that she was getting, but this one intrigued her the most, and this is where she ended up. So I'm really glad, though. It's nice to have a little piece of home kind of within Hays being my home as well. So yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and both of them were key contributors on the squad already this year. You know, Hannah with her speed and being able to do some things that she does in the box with the slap hitting and getting on base with her speed. And, you know, obviously Kristen was having a big year as a freshman too, you know, leading you guys in RBI. So, yeah, I mean, it was good additions to the squad. So I guess, you know, keep bringing those people from Fort Collins. But
must be a powerhouse.
Oh yeah,
we've had some really good kids come in and out of Fort Collins. It's honestly really fun to compete, and Colorado's not really viewed as a super competitive softball state, not compared to like your California, your Floridas, Louisiana, that kind of areas, those kinds of areas. But it's honestly a pretty competitive area to be in, especially when you're playing in big tournaments like the Sparkler and things like that, where they bring a lot of those California, Florida teams in and they play. So yeah,
it's very cool. So, all right, ladies, so we're gonna go over to the fun side of things here now. So I guess you know, it's time for what, and this show's very young too, so we're just randomly calling things whatever we want right now. So it's time for a game we're gonna call Who on My Team. So we're gonna have each of you write down an answer on paper, and then maybe give a little explanation of why you chose that player. So, you know, I'm just wanting to see how many of your answers potentially match with each one of your opinions. So anyway, so are you ready to go here? You got your equipment ready? Okay, awesome. So first question. All right, who has the most interesting game day routine or ritual on your team? We know ball players can have some interesting
You got that so fast.
routines and rituals.
Very superstitious. Yeah, going back to the no-hitter.
I have no idea.
Really?
Mine was easy. I see it every day.
I am stumped on this question. Okay.
Gosh darn, I'm asking hard ones out of the gate here.
Yeah.
So killing the flow.
Who has a pregame ritual?
Or is there something during the game? How about even during the game? Has anybody got any funky routines or maybe even like when they get in the batter's box? Anybody got one of the, because doesn't like Bailey Boxberger, she did something, I can't remember where she does, I can't remember what all she does, but
to the pitcher. But
okay, I put someone.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, Megan, reveal your answer. What do we got so far?
Haley Chapman.
Okay.
Okay, no.
What did you?
Oh, hey,
it's backwards. Okay.
Actually, that. Are you saying the words backwards on the screen, Katie?
Yeah, is it not backwards?
No, it's fine on our screen, so you're good.
Okay.
It does some funny things sometimes, but okay. So let's go ahead and explain why Haley Chapman.
So before every home game, at least, Haley goes out into the outfield and then like draws whatever the school's like initials are
Oh.
out into like the warning tracks, and then she puts on them and comes back in because she really wants to win. She's really competitive. So, every single time. You guys are usually hitting Addie, so I mean.
Yeah.
But for us, for the pitchers, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I like it.
Was there something with Hannah that stood out to you there, Katie?
I put Hannah because she does this like Yoda thing when she gets she doesn't do it in actual games, but she's done it at practice, and it's like she has a samurai in her hands.
Yeah.
Oh, the bat thing.
Like she just like twirls it like 80 times. I don't even know what she does.
Yeah.
And that is why I put Hannah.
Yeah, I was out there taking photos one day, and she started doing that outside the box, and I was like, that was kind of cool. So
what she was doing in games, but
yeah, fair enough.
Whole competitive season, like the entire time, right before she'd get in the box, she'd flip it around a bunch while she's standing in the box, and then she.
Very cool.
This one may tie into that. I don't know, or there may be other things. Who do you think is the goofiest player on the team?
Ooh.
And you know, I'm hey, even if you think it's yourself, you can write that down too.
We got a lot of goofballs on this team.
Yeah.
It's fairly evident you guys like to have a good time.
Yeah.
Enjoy each other for the most part.
Find fun. Okay.
All right. Let's go to Kate. Let's go to Katie first this time.
That's a good one, yeah. I said Lil.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think you can say everyone's a goofball.
So yeah,
no wrong answers there.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it every now and then when I'm coming down to the dugout to get different stuff. So there's maybe a tie there between several. So, I guess who has the best hidden or unknown talent on the team, in your opinion? All right.
The Viner.
What can she do?
She sings. She's really good.
She sings really good.
Huh? Oh.
Did she go on American Idol?
Very cool.
Okay.
What do we got?
I put Jenny Moore because she used to do gymnastics. So at our last game, she said, "Hey, watch this," and then you did a bunch of flips on the dirt. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Out of the blue.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Maybe this is dancing is a little bit different, but who's the best dancer on your team? Flips, maybe that can be a type of dance. Can anybody top that? Seem to have pretty quick answers.
Yeah.
See if we finally got a match. Katie, who'd you put?
Oh, that's not who I put.
Oh, okay.
No.
The pitchers know how to dance?
TikTok.
Mikey's TikTok.
Mikey has I don't know, she does this one thing where she it looks like she's revving a motorcycle. What's that all about? Like, have you ever seen her do that in the dugout where she cranks her hand a couple of times? Have you guys ever even witnessed that?
She woes a lot. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Fair enough. So, who would you say is the most organized person on the team? Maybe everything that's just always so neat and tidy, or maybe it's the way they handle classes. I don't know. Okay. Here we go. Who wants it?
I said Grace.
I put
got?
I thought about putting beatbox. But
I can see that.
Yeah.
Grace is she's a germaphobe.
Grace is a freak.
Okay. Fair
but
enough.
B-Box, on Monday morning, she will have all of her homework done for the whole week.
Oh.
And then she's just sitting there. She's like, I have nothing to do. And then her house is always clean.
Yeah.
I just feel like she has everything. She's got it together. Very, oh my gosh. Yeah, her
Fair.
life is planned.
I see.
Who's the best multi-sport athlete on the team? Most overall athleticism?
I mean, maybe you've seen it. I don't know if you ladies ever do any kind of other activities together, like other sports or anything like that. This one looks like it's stumping Megan a little bit.
Two people. So
I don't. Okay. Do you have an answer?
yeah.
She's going with it.
I said Lily. Lily and I sometimes have gone and played basketball just like out on the outdoor courts, and she's really athletic there. And I mean, she's just athletic anywhere. Even when you watch her on the field, everything looks so easy when it's really not.
Yeah.
Okay, I put Jenny because
Okay.
we had during OKC challenge. This girl can swim. This girl can ride a bike.
Wow.
This girl can run. She can do gymnastics. She played soccer in high school. She can just do it all.
Wow.
Very well-rounded.
Yes.
That's impressive. I guess who's the most vocal or outspoken player on the team? All right. Do we have a match? Maybe.
I said Haley.
Okay. What do you got, Katie?
I put myself.
Also,
I wondered if it might be you, Katie. So
I like to yell.
yeah,
I like to be really obnoxious.
that's all right. I mean,
What's wrong
I've
with
even
that?
noticed you on the edge of the dugout leading the chants and
Yeah.
doing
Me and
it.
Haley like to get the dugout rowdy.
Okay, fair enough. So it might be a little bit of a tie there
Yeah.
as far as game day. Okay, awesome.
All right, last one. We'll probably leave Coach out of this, but who's the most intense person on the team?
you can't write coach.
Just your teammates.
It'd probably be the one you agree on, for Coach.
Intense. I don't know.
Again. All right, I think I got it. I don't know if we have the same answer. You go first.
All right.
Oh, no. I said E.
Oh,
E's really
that's a good one.
Was that T Money?
Team money. Taryn?
Taryn. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the symbols. I think I'd heard you guys, but I think that's T Money. I think
Yep.
I've heard you guys say that before. So, okay, fair enough. That's Taryn Caldwell or Elise Capra. Very cool. So,
Yeah. E's pretty.
all right. Well, I mean, we didn't get any matches in there, but it's kind of cool to see you guys' opinions. That's
A lot of
that's
shout
kinda-
outs.
Yeah, a lot of shout outs to your teammates there. So, last bonus fun question, I guess, is I want to know a little bit of background on this. You ladies have a tradition that goes on week to week with Tut, the tiger head that hangs on the fence of your dugout. I've seen some other some rituals in college before. I think Wright State baseball a few years ago had Gary the deer in their dugout. It was this it was this deer head that they put a hat and some shades on and stuff like it. It was crazy. But can you give us some background on what's the thing with Tut now that he or she is a a thing at every one of your games?
So, do I want to do it? Okay.
Go ahead, Katie.
I think a senior just had that backpack. It's a backpack, if you didn't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
He had it like 2 years ago and just left it in the locker room when she left.
Yeah, she left it in our.
And so Haley Chapman took it last year because it was in her apartment. And then we started implementing Player of the Week. And so you just vote on who you think gave their best that week. And so then we decided to give Player of the Week Tut. And then on game days, we have our own like player cards with our, they're pretty cool. And so we put all the player cards into Tut, and this is how we get hyped for the game.
Okay.
We play music, and then we all just like start screaming, and then someone pulls out who they're playing for, and then we just pass it, and it's pretty cool. Like we did that for Kearney last year for the big game for Kearney. We had to win those. And so that's what we did. And like the energy, if you were at that game, it was just unreal. Like you couldn't stop us that day. And so we just carried that on into this year, and it's really fun.
Very cool. So yeah, I'm sure several of our fans have probably seen the Tiger Head over there, but they might not even know what the backstory is. So I wanted to get that out there in public knowledge a little bit of what's up with Tut, I guess. So yeah. Cool. All right, ladies. Well, appreciate you joining us today. I know taking some time out of your day. I know there's not a lot of stuff going on right now, but you know, we appreciate you jumping on here with us and people getting to know both of you a little bit better and having a little bit of fun at the same time. So hopefully the rest of your semester goes really well, and hopefully we'll get back to some normalcy and doing some activities again here before too long. So, but again, that's Megan Jamison and Katie Adler of our softball team. And thank you ladies for joining us today on the Fort Report.
Thanks, you guys.
Having us.
Thank you.